Hello and welcome to our video. The purpose of this video is to introduce our 8th grade students to some basic economic concepts regarding markets. Specifically, we're going to introduce the ideas of supply and demand. And the entire purpose of this video is to give you some background information on the economic principles or tools of supply and demand and how they relate to markets. And this is going to be directly connected with our second feedback block and the study of our second feedback block. Cotton is an agricultural product that has some important uses as far as economic activity is concerned. Besides the little tiny cotton ball that you find inside your aspirin or your ibuprofen when you first open the bottle, the apparel industry buys a large amount of cotton every year. It's used in the production of clothing. Who grows cotton? China, India, the United States, Pakistan, and Brazil are the world's 5 leading nations as far as cotton production is concerned. There are a list of other nations which also produce cotton. So the forces of buyers, in this case the producers of clothing and apparel, they're the demanders. They're going to want to buy cotton as a basic economic input, a resource, a factor of production. And the sellers are going to be all of those farmers from those aforementioned countries. I would assume that most of the time when you eat the food that's put on your table, you rarely ask your parents, how much does the food cost? It's probably a good point in your life to start becoming aware of these particular ideas and the issues surrounding these ideas. So for instance, here we have one of our favorite fish to eat, salmon. If you went into the supermarket today and went to the fish aisle and asked, how much does it cost per pound for a pound of salmon? Well, again, this is going to be determined by the market forces of supply and demand. In this particular market, you'd have those who fish for salmon, those would be the producers, the suppliers, and of course those who purchase salmon. Corn is an extremely important agricultural product, especially for the United States. The United States actually grows roughly 14 billion bushels of corn per year. And if you think about who uses corn, well, obviously we like to eat corn on the cob and frozen corn and cream corn, but there's also other uses for corn. It's one of the additives in the feed for livestock. We like to eat sweet treats, and a lot of the sugary products that we eat are made sweet by high fructose corn syrup. So there are literally millions upon millions of buyers or demanders in the corn market. And obviously the suppliers are all of those corn farms or corn farmers you see across the country. There are roughly 7 billion people on planet Earth. A large percentage of those people on planet Earth have a basic grain, that is something like rice or wheat, with their lunch or dinner every day. So the economic forces that determine the price of a bushel of wheat or a bushel of rice are extremely important because they're going to have a direct impact on how much it costs to provide that meal to a large percentage of people. So an interesting project might be to determine what would be the ultimate impact of a horrible growing season for rice or for wheat across the globe, and how would that affect the price of these basic economic staples. And then at the end of the day, how would that affect how much people like you and I have to pay for food?
Come and listen to my story about a man named Jed. A poor mountaineer barely kept his family fed. And then one day he was shooting at some food, and up to the ground come a bubbling crude oil, that is black gold, Texas tea. Well, the first thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. The kinfolk said, Jed, move away from there. Said, California is the place you ought to be. So they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly Hills, that is, swimming pools, movie stars.
The theme song was from a television show called The Beverly Hillbillies. And although most of you were too young to remember that comedic sitcom, the actual environmental, economic, and geopolitical issues associated with the price of a barrel of oil aren't usually quite as funny, but there's something that, as a young person, you should become aware of. That's going to be the focus of our second feedback block. From the standpoint of the environment, obviously oil is a fossil fuel. Fossil fuels are dirty pollutants and they emit CO2 gases. Over the past 15 years, the United States has discovered a large amount of fossil fuels, but they are trapped and only accessible through directional drilling and fracking. So part of this feedback block will be to examine those environmental issues associated with oil. The United States imports oil, that is to say, buys oil from foreign countries. Some of those countries are not exactly the allies of the United States, countries like Iraq and Iran and Russia. So there are significant geopolitical issues associated with the price of a barrel of oil. And then finally, there are economic issues associated with the price of a barrel of oil. Who wins and who loses when oil increases in price or decreases in price. Today is the 22nd of September, 2016, and currently oil is priced at roughly $43.50 a barrel. In 2004, oil was trading at $147 a barrel. These issues, the environment, the geopolitical issues, and the economic issues, are not mutually exclusive. That is to say, all of them connect and connect directly to the price of oil.